Calling all business owners, let's talk pricing. So this is something I often have discussions about with my clients, because pricing is an interesting one, because there is an element of mindset that is attached to the issue on pricing, because first of all, it's understanding your own worth. And it's understanding the value proposition that you are actually putting forward. And one of the biggest factors in business owners effectively undervaluing themselves is based simply on the fact that they don't know the value in which they are offering, and they don't actually value themselves enough, or what the offer is. And this is something that's really, really important. And this is where things like imposter syndrome kicks in, because you think, well, why is anybody going to pay me this amount of money? And if you don't believe that your service is actually worth that, then nobody's going to buy into you at being at that particular price or value, right? Now, the key thing, though, is there is a balance between undervaluing yourself and being overconfident and basically being arrogant about it. It's about knowing your own worth, but literally it's how you then communicate that, right? And that is where the whole thing of know, like, and trust kind of comes in, because by the time that you get to that sales conversation and you're actually talking about the price of what you're offering, because you've already built that relationship up, they already know you, they already like you, they already trust you, they're going to be more open to the costing. Now, I recently put a reel about the fact that often in terms of the pricing, that effectively it's kind of a summary of what I'm talking about here, where I'm talking about knowing your worth and actually pricing accordingly. And actually, this is where I am seeing where somebody had commented, but my clients won't actually pay me the value in which I know that I should be paid. They appreciate the value I bring, but the market just won't allow it. Now, that, to me, there's two components to that. One is there is a mindset block. Second of all, if they're not prepared to pay what your service is actually worth, then the question mark I would put on it is, one, is that the service that you should be offering in the first place? And second of all, are they actually truly your ideal client? Because I genuinely believe it does not matter what industry you are in. If you have targeted the right clients and they are your ideal client, the price tag will not matter. Now, there are businesses out there that all they're interested in is the cheapest price, and there'll be customers that only ever want the cheapest price. Now, if you're working with somebody like me, in the nicest way, I'm not interested if you want to do the drop at the bottom price, because that's not the type of clients I want to work with. I want to work with people who know their value, know that they've got a cracking service, they know that they should be charging more than what they are, but they don't know how to actually achieve it. Now, there are also different pricing models. And I know from coming from the legal profession, pricing wasn't based on value, pricing was based on time. And that's again where there needs to be an element of adjustment that needs to be made in a number of professions, especially in the legal profession. And when just before I left it was starting to change, because what we were then starting to do is do more and more fixed fee work rather than based on the time that was actually spent. Now, even so, that's still not necessarily taking into account the value that you're providing, the problem that you're actually solving for them. but there are just industries that are very, very much stuck in a particular model. Now, when you're dealing with, for example, HR services, I'm a big believer in packages. And ultimately, you would have, for example, a bronze, silver, gold, or a silver, gold, platinum package. And ultimately, each package, you are increasing the value of the service proposition that you are putting forward. And that can apply for accounting, that can apply for HR services, for recruitment services. And this is where I think it's steering away from time, because the other thing is there is only so many hours in a day. Therefore, you can then only charge a certain amount of time, because that's what it's based on. Whereas if you're basing your fees on value and on a certain result that you achieve, then in that way there's a price tag that's associated. So it could be the fact that you actually get them the result in a very short period of time, but it could still be a high ticket item. Now, that could be that some people actually, it's, you know, it could be, for some people, it could take you longer to reach that result. But ultimately, it's still about achieving the result at the end of the day, and the value in your expertise that actually matters. And if you are genuinely targeting the right target audience, they are not going to care about the price tag. The only people who care about the price tag are people who all they care about is what price you're offering. And actually, generally, those people don't care necessarily about the service that they actually receive. Or if they do, it's very much a case of they are the type that wants something for nothing. But true people who understand that what you're offering is a true skill and that there is an expertise to it will appreciate to have that expertise, that there will be a price tag associated to it. So remember that. So if you want to be at rock bottom prices because you don't care what customers that you are you're working with, crack on. But for a really successful business, you work with a select few of ideal clients that know your value, they know your worth, and therefore they will pay what you associate that particular value, actually what the return on investment, what the value of what your service actually is. So do really think about your pricing strategy. Yes, there is an element where you do look at what your competitors charge, but the other thing is what do your competitors actually offer in comparison to you? What is their expertise level? Because the other thing that I think it can be dangerous thing, yes, you need to know competitor analysis is something that we cover within our program. But the key thing with competitor analysis is you need to know where your distinction is from your competitor, because it could be the fact that you have an extended knowledge in a particular area. It could be all sorts of things. And that could then actually differentiate why you can charge more than what they can, for example. Or it might be the simple fact is they don't know their own worth and they're undercharging. The thing is what often happens is when you're looking at your competitors, they all will look at each other. So they'll all price each other around it. And until somebody actually turns around and says, hang on a second, actually, I think we are worth this, it will never change. The market will never change. You'll always stick to the same kind of pricing level. Whereas if you can truly demonstrate to your target audience why you are worth this amount and that you've got this value, then I promise you, they will pay it. And also the other key part, of course, is you've got to strike a balance between, in terms of, you need to be profitable. The amount of times that I'm seeing businesses and they're wondering why they're not profitable, they're wondering why they don't have cash in the bank, is again, they're literally charging the cheapest rate because they're trying to beat their competitors. No, you need to be looking at where your profit level is, and it's about value and profit. That's the key bit. Not so much about competitiveness, it's actually about profit and the value that you give your target audience, right? And ultimately, there are going to be some people that will object to the pricing. But if you have demonstrated this whole know, like, and trust principle, by the time they actually are having a conversation about the pricing, there's going to be hardly any objections. You might get the odd one, but if you can handle that, that's when you're going to have a high chance of actually getting that sale over the line. So I hope you found this useful. If you would like some guidance in relation to your pricing strategy, it really is an important part, because so many businesses, it's an easy win to be able to increase your sales and ultimately increase your profitability is simply by looking at your pricing structure and how it can be adjusted to make you more profitable. So if you want some help on it, make sure you click the link, book yourself into a free strategy session with me, and we'll do a deep dive on your pricing strategy and get you more profitable. Thanks guys for listening. Hope you have a fantastic day.